Maya Verma was desperate. When your bank balance was 1,322 rupees, your landlord threatened to evict you, and your little brother's tuition was pending, desperation did not read poetic. It read messy. It read like a 24-year-old entering the decrepit lobby of an abandoned corporate building at midnight in pursuit of the faint possibility of a job notice. Voss Enterprises, the corporation that had once reigned supreme over skyscrapers, boardrooms, and newspapers, was now a byword for scandal. Its CEO, Adrian Voss, had inexplicably died 5 years ago, and the empire lay in ruins. But someone had whispered in Maya's ear, "They're reopening. They're taking on interns. Fast money." She didn't question why. She just did. The security officer at the rusty gate hardly looked at her before showing her to an old office upstairs. She opened the creaky oak door, coughing as dust swirled about in the moonlight. Papers were scattered everywhere, ink faded. On the table, one shining sheet of parchment lay tidily, as if freshly printed. Maya scowled. "This is strange." The header on the document stated, "Contract of Service, Voss Enterprises." Her eyes ran over it rapidly. The clauses were surreal. I, the undersigned, undertake to work at the behest of Adrian Voss until the completion of his incomplete projects. Violation of contract will seal my soul forever. Maya laughed. Seriously? Is this a ghostly internship? But she considered bills for tuition, for eviction, for starvation. With a tremulous laugh, she took up the pen. "Okay, spooky CEO, let's get haunted together." She signed. The ink glowed red. The air went cold. And a voice, deep, smooth, irritable, wrapped around her ear. About time someone signed it. Maya froze. What? Who said that? A figure took shape in front of her. Tall. Strong Javed. Dark hair perfectly sleeked, eyes like steel. He wore a three-piece suit, immaculate though years had passed. He looked just like the framed portraits she'd read about in old news clippings. Adrian Voss, the deceased CEO. "Congratulations," he said, smirking. "You're my new assistant." Maya screamed. Loud. Her shriek rang out in the office, of marble and glass. She picked up a paperweight and threw it at the ghost. It flew through him and hit the wall. Adrian raised an eyebrow. "Was that really needed?" You're a ghost," she stuttered. "Congratulations, brilliant deduction," he replied dryly. "I did think my transparency was a giveaway." Maya moved away from him toward the door. Nope. I did not sign up for this." "Actually," Adrian cut in, holding up the shimmering contract, "you did. Clause 3, service is non-refundable." Her mouth opened in shock. "This is a joke. I don't believe this." "Then why?" he whispered, advancing closer. "Can you see me?" The cold of his presence tingled her skin. Adrian explained, with a mix of arrogance and desperation, that his death had never been solved. Betrayal, poison, conspiracy. He couldn't move on until the truth surfaced. The contract was designed to bind someone living to help him. Maya groaned. "So I'm stuck playing Nancy Drew for a dead billionaire?" "CEO," he corrected, eyes flashing. "Not a billionaire. Billionaires retire. CEO's command." She glared. "Oh my God, you're not just dead. You're bossy. Occupational hazard." And despite the terror, Maya laughed. It was absurd, ridiculous, but real. The following morning, Maya nervously walked into the half-revived office complex of Voss Enterprises. By sheer stubbornness and ghostly intervention, Adrian had gotten her hired as an intern in the resurrected branch. Naturally, no one had any idea she was working for the ghost of their former boss. "Remember," Adrian whispered into her ear as she sat at her workstation, "type precisely what I tell you to." She did. She truly did. But typing memos with a ghost looming over your shoulder was not easy. "Send this email to finance. Stop hemorrhaging cash, or I'll hemorrhage you." Maya gagged. I can't send that. Why not? Because I don't want HR calling the cops. Half the day went by with her muttering, jotting notes, and glaring at thin air. Coworkers stared at her funny. At one point, she accidentally snapped at Adrian aloud. For heaven's sake, stop nagging me. The entire floor turned to stare. Maya flushed crimson. Adrian chuckled. You're doing fine, assistant. Despite the chaos, she couldn't deny it. Adrian was magnetic. His wit was sharp, his confidence commanding, and when he leaned close, though he couldn't quite touch, her heart skipped. And that terrified her more than the haunting. Night fell, and with it, quiet in the office. Maya and Adrian were left alone. She worked late, going through old files he'd insisted she review. Her hair came loose at some point, strands touching her cheek. Adrian leaned in closer, automatically reaching up to brush them back, and his fingers went right through. Maya paused, eyes locking with his. The desire in his eyes took her aback. I used to despise silence, Adrian breathed. But with you, it's alive. Her heart pounded. Don't say things like that, she whispered. Why not? Because you're dead. And yet, he spoke softly, I feel more alive when I'm around you than I did in years of board meetings. Maya had no idea what to say. All she knew was that she needed to hear him keep talking. The probe went deeper. Following Adrian's recollections, Maya investigated his locked office. Behind a panel, she discovered a folder of confidential notes. Letters to the CFO, Daniel Reeves. Daniel, Adrian's best friend, his right-hand man. Adrian's face turned stern as Maya read. He betrayed me. The letters intimated financial embezzlement, secret collaborations, and hinted threats. Adrian's final memory before he died, drinking with Daniel. Maya's gut twisted. You think he poisoned me? Adrian's eyes burned. I don't think. I know. But knowing and proving weren't the same. Maya started questioning Daniel casually at work. His smile was smooth, his smile easy, but something in his eyes made her nervous. Daniel caught her digging through papers once. Nosy little intern, he joked. Be careful, curiosity can be lethal. That evening, shaken, Maya turned to comfort in Adrian. She told him about her fear. He looked at her, his eyes softening. You're more courageous than you realize. You entered into an agreement with a ghost and still bicker with him every day. She weakly laughed. Perhaps I'm crazy. Or perhaps, Adrian breathed, his eyes holding on hers, you're just who I needed. The air was charged with tension. And then, miraculously, warmth caressed her cheek. For an instant, his lips hovered over her skin. Maya gasped. Adrian, I don't know how this is possible, he muttered, voice hoarse, but I think I'm falling for you. Her heart pounded. Against every law of life and death, she was falling too. Days passed, and Maya reread the contract. Odd runes bordered its edges. She decoded them with Adrian's assistance. The contract was not a bond. It was a bridge. The tighter their bond, the more substantial Adrian became. No wonder she had sensed his lips. But there was another condition. Should his truth be revealed, his soul could either be released or bound to hers forever. Maya paled. Wait, this means we're basically married by contract. Adrian smirked. You say that like it's a bad thing. She threw a cushion at him. It passed through, of course. The ball was dazzling, chandeliers, champagne, music. Maya went in a borrowed dress, Adrian's ghostly presence at her side like a shadow nobody else could perceive. It was the ideal forum. By masterful maneuvering, and Adrian whispering tips in her ear, Maya cornered Daniel, coaxing him into dialogue. She talked about Adrian's last night, the beverage they had shared. Daniel's mask slipped. Anger flared. That arrogant bastard had it coming, he snarled. Maya's recorder picked up every utterance. Police arrived shortly afterward, evidence pointing toward Daniel's embezzlement. As the handcuffs clicked into place, Adrian stood taller, prouder. Justice had been served. But his form started to glow dimly, edges blurring. Maya's heart fell. "No, you can't go." Adrian smiled gently. "The contract is complete. My soul may rest." Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes. "But I don't want you to rest. I want you to stay here." He reached out, and for the first time, his fingers touched hers, warm, real. "You've given me more life in weeks than I had in years." The parchment materialized between them, shining. A last clause revealed. The aid can decide, release the soul, or bind it for eternity. Maya shook. "If I let you go, you're gone. And if you bind me," he breathed, "you're bound to a ghost." Her tears dripped onto the paper. "I don't care." She ripped it in two. Light exploded. When it faded, Maya blinked and gasped. Adrian stood before her, breathing, solid, alive. His suit rumpled, his hair slightly disheveled, but his heartbeat thundered against her palms as she touched his chest. "You're alive?" he finished, smiling. "Thanks to you." She laughed through tears, throwing her arms around him. He held her tightly, lips finally meeting hers in a kiss that was both fiery and tender. As they parted, he grinned. "Well, Mrs. Voss, it seems that contract was a marriage certificate." She pushed him teasingly. "Don't test me, ghost husband." But her laughter was sunny, her heart intact. For the first time, she believed in miracles. Because sometimes, love didn't just defeat death, it redefined it.